With such games as SimCity, The Sims, and Spore to his credit, Will Wright is considered one of the greatest game designers of all time. Responsible for some of the best-selling games of all time, his contribution to interactive entertainment is matched by no one. If anyone says the game industry doesn't think outside the box enough, they haven't met Will Wright. While the rest of the industry was off building yet another science fiction or fantasy game, Will Wright was thinking of ways to create tools that would enable the player to explore their imaginations and create their own worlds. Will Wright began his game designing career with a game called Raid on Bungling Bay, a helicopter action game for the Commodore 64. While simple in concept, Raid on Bungling Bay would be responsible for sowing the seeds for one of the games Wright is most known for, SimCity. While designing his first game, he had so much fun creating the environments, it led him to think about making a game to do just that.
To me, his legacy, at least from a gaming standpoint, is he redefined what can be fun. Redefined what can be a game. You know, it doesn't have to be about racing, or it doesn't have to be about sports or shooting people. It really, what Will Wright did is just change what we think of as games and what can be fun.
In 1989, Will Wright brought SimCity to the Mac and to the Amiga. The game allowed players to become the mayor of a city, tasked with building a city where citizens work, live, and move about your creation. Very early incarnations of SimCity were made for the Commodore 64 in 1985, but it wasn't until 1989, 2 years after Will Wright founded Maxis, the SimCity saw store shelves. It was extremely difficult to convince publishers that people would actually be interested in playing a game about the exciting and thrilling world of city planning.
Before the original SimCity, and I know that's an old game, but like if someone had told me, hey Brian, you can go be basically you could be a city planner and it will take up your entire life and you will be obsessed with it, I would have said you're crazy. That's ridiculous.
Once word got around about the great entertainment value that SimCity was, it flew off shelves and created millions of obsessed city planners.
Yeah, SimCity 2000 for me is a standout. I absolutely love that game. I might still play that game every once in a while. But I remember playing that on the PC. I remember doing like the cheat where you would build, what was it, like you'd build mountains, you'd build waterfalls, you'd stick up hydroelectric plants, and then you could do some sort of, you could basically just do the basics of getting the 3 zones in your city, and you could leave it overnight, and you'd come to the game the next day, leave it running all night on cheetah speed, and you'd have like $1 million. And so that was the thing I'd do. I'd start a city from scratch, leave it overnight, have $1 million, and then just start playing. To me, it's like just messing around with design and finding new ways to build a highway and just designing the city.
Needless to say, the success of SimCity spawned a series of sequels, but Will Wright had his sights on his next big idea, an interactive dollhouse simulation. Once again, this was a hard sell. Focus groups immediately rejected it, and it seemed that the game was dead before it hit the ground. This didn't stop Wright, though. He secretly worked with just one programmer to get the basic engine created, and with his prototype, he was able to convince the powers that be at Maxis to give it the green light. And in February of 2000, The Sims made its debut.
I think one of the unique things about The Sims is that nobody's effectively copied it yet. You know, when you look at all the other game genres, usually there's a big hit, and then everybody comes out with their version of the big hit, and then it's a whole genre. The Sims is a whole genre with no competition, really.